All right, guys, welcome back. Another episode of College Coach's Corner. Again, we're back with another junior college coach from Texas, back in Region 14. We're here with head coach Nate from Coastal Bend. Coach, how you doing during all this virus madness?
Doing good. Just trying to stay away from distancing, social distancing, and all that good stuff. It's a little different because I don't have the kids on campus. Like, this is one of my favorite parts of the year because the kids are here and we get to do a lot of individual stuff and get better before they either go on or for next year. So it's kind of difficult right there, but everything else has been going good.
For sure, man. So, Coach, you've been at Coastal Bend now for 3 years. Just finished up your third year, trying to rebuild the program, get it headed in the right direction. We know you're playing in the hardest region, very big pond, so to say. What makes Coastal Bend so great?
I like two things. My favorite quote, my favorite quote that I use when like kids come in or parents come in and stuff is, playing in Region 14, you're gonna get exposure or you're gonna get exposed really quick. And being at Coastal Bend, that gives you we get a lot of kind of under the radar kids a little bit. And so it gives them a chance to really work and thrive in an environment and put themselves on the map because they can get a lot of exposure. I mean, there's almost 3 to 4-year coaches in the gym almost every night anywhere you go in this region. And so it's really nice. They can get a lot of exposure. And same goes the opposite. You know, there's kids that'll come here and right off the bat they're like, Coach, I thought I could play college basketball, but and they can find a little role on the team. You know, they can do some stuff, but it's really going to produce. I've had more kids go places because 4-year coaches been in the gym and they see them and they hit 30 a night against one of the teams, or they do something and the coaches are like, man, they can play. And so I think that's one of the big perks. And the second part is it's a 7-year-old program, so it hasn't been in an NJCAA. They've had women's basketball a lot longer than that, but it's been a club team, and so it's kind of new and starting. And so the kids and me, we can kind of build something here and get it going off the ground.
That's cool. A lot of times we're talking about we just dropped our 2023 rankings, so I've been getting a lot of buzz about how do you come up with that eval? How do you come up with all that stuff? And a lot of advice that I give to people is it's about matchups, right? So you want to go out and play against the best or play against people that you think you're as good of or you're better. You want to play against other people that are going to be playing on that next level. And in the region that you're in, every single night you're playing against possibly somebody's in the top 25, much less somebody that could be number 1, number 2, number 3, like back-to-back nights. So like you said, finding those matchups, man, that's definitely a huge benefit. That's a great point.
Yes.
Tough question. Let's get right into it, man. So you're in your third year. Think back, first year. Who was the first coach you felt like out-coached you in a game?
Oh my goodness. I think all of them did, but the one that sticks out, I mean, you got Coach G at Trinity Valley, man. He's good. Coach T at Tyler. I went against Coach Bain at Odessa my first year. Coach Petrie at South Plains. I mean, we didn't play a easy schedule in the preseason either. So we went against Coach Jones at Midland, Ricky Rhodes at McLennan, Coach Seebeck at Temple. Like they were all like, I think I calculated my first year I went against like 290 years of coaching experience in 30 games, and so it was pretty wild ride. But you know, those games make you better as a coach. The one game I keep watching and Coach Rennie at Bossier Parish, we went up there and we went over to Bossier Parish and we went into overtime with them, and I really felt like in the fourth quarter, and then overtime, I got out coached a little bit. Like like that. I think that's the one game I look back on and say we had a chance in that game, and I definitely got out coached. Man, my first year at Trinity Valley, we had them. I think it was a 2-point game here, and they were like top 5 in the nation, and just couldn't get past the hump. And that's just experience, man. Coach Trina at Tyler.
Yeah.
Man, we lost to him by 8 down here my first year, and so like all those games, I just feel like there was little. And this year too, Coach T got me down here again. We were up by 2 with about a minute and a half left, and she just, I mean, flat out, just they can coach. So it's really fun. It's a really good experience, and hopefully as I go along, I get better and better. And watching these tapes, it makes me understand, rotations. I'm pretty bad at rotations right now. I think that's probably one of my biggest weaknesses. And they just know how to sub at the right time and get those players that go in and make that play they need. And I gotta figure out how to get the right rotation in to finish the game or something like that.
Yeah, that's cool, man. It's definitely like you said, you're in one of the toughest regions where you're playing against the best players, and with the best players comes the best coaches. So I know as an opportunity as a player to come in night in, night out, as a coach too, night in, night out, you're going against the biggest and the baddest. That's pretty cool.
Yes.
Back on that.
Yeah, and I didn't even mention Coach Jenkins at Blinn. He's been there like 20 years, and Byron Coleman at Angelina. I mean, it's crazy. Eddie Cott at Panola did a really good job. Like, it was fun. It's just fun. And the great thing about all of those people is they're not scared to help you, and they're not gonna pass up a phone call, talk to you, and really grow your career.
No doubt. I know we had talked a little bit off the record about this whole process that's going on right now, and the recruiting and how do you get it done. I guess all like watching a lot of film. We talked to Byron a lot. He talked about it's so easy now with Huddle. You can make highlights, make film, everything like that. So it's easier to exchange. It's a lot easier than it was 20 years ago. He was explaining how he used to have to go travel to Louisiana, meet somebody halfway, pick a tape up, come back. They'd have to mail it off to him. Given that the situation is going on with the virus madness, how are you handling it as far as a recruiting standpoint, finish up your 2020, moving on to your 2021 class?
Like I said earlier, I think the hardest part, like the same with your kids that are here and you are getting recruited out, like you can't be in the gym with them. You can't like actually, like there's a lot of unsigned senior things we go to right now. There's a lot of events. There's a lot of AAU events for the 2021 class too, but there's still a lot of really good seniors out there that usually have the opportunity to be in the gym right now, and you can go down somewhere. Right now it's a lot of film watching. I don't love highlight videos, but I'll watch a highlight video, and then once I see it, I'm like, I want to see game film on them, because highlight videos usually just offense. And I want to see your tendencies on defense a little bit. I want to see if you leave your feet on the closeout, if you don't get the help side, if you can guard one-on-one in the full-court situation, if you sprint back all the time, things like that. A shot goes up. Are you blocking out? Are you leaking out? What are you doing? And so I think that that's a big thing for me. Hang on one second. My neighbor's back in this field. Big old check up.
That's all right.
Sorry. And so, yeah, I think that's a big thing for me is to get – and that's another reason you like to be in the gym with them. I love phone calls. I love talking to kids. And I spent a lot of time on the phone in the last week. Like, I think I told my brother-in-law the other day that I averaged 4 phone calls an hour for the last 3 days. Like, so it's fun, but it's really nice to be able to meet them face to face, meet their families face to face, talk to coaches, and get to network with coaches face to face. And that's a lot of March through June, July is what you're doing, and so I'm missing that part a lot. But at the same time, you got to go on about your business and get kids in. And so I think it's a lot of game film. Sometimes I wouldn't watch game film on a kid if I knew I got to see them in person, because I would get to watch them in person. And so I could watch a highlight tape and say, yeah, I'm gonna go down there and watch 4 or 5 of these kids and check them out in game situations. But now it's just a lot more film. Transfers, you get transfers at the JUCO level, and a lot of watching that game film too to make sure, looking at stats online, seeing what they kind of did, talking to coaches, and finishing out that class. The last year was nice because I could recruit a lot this year, kids, because I had 10 kids coming back last year, and this year we're graduating 9 out of 10, and all 10 of them are going on. A couple of them were redshirt freshmen, so all 10 of them are going on. So like we're literally replacing our whole roster, and so it was a different year because usually right now you're out and about and getting these kids and with replacing so many bodies, it'd been nice to meet all of them and stuff.
Yeah. So we talk about the evaluation process, like you're talking about. You gave a cool little insight. So you watch the highlight film. If you feel like you can watch the kid live, you don't want to spend that time watching whatever game film they send over or whatever. You want to get your first look at them live. Going and watching the kid, there's nothing like watching them live. Recapping again, I feel like you got a great personality, so you're trying to express your personality off to the kid and try to get the other kid's personality back. Character goes a long ways. There's a lot of things that go into this whole evaluation process. Whenever people ask me about the evaluation process, again, we're in the quote unquote rankings and all that. There's a lot that goes into it. I try to explain to them. And at the end of the day, recruiting is like taste buds, like you may like something over here and I may want chicken nuggets where you want a burger. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a big difference, and it's all about what you want and what you need. And kind of got to do your homework a little bit. Like you said, if you guys need 10 people, you're going to have to kind of branch out a little bit further, where if you need just 2 or 3, you can kind of narrow it a little bit. You want to add a little bit on that a little bit?
Yeah, I think the other important part, just like you said, style of play. You could see a kid in the highlight tape and they look really good, and then you go watch them. Like we press and get up and down a lot. We like layups and threes in transition. And so you go watch them and there's a lot of half court stuff. And you might still love the kid. They might be great, but you got to do some research on them and make sure that they can play in that system and play fast and do all that stuff. Whereas you might see a high school team or AU team that plays fast like that, and that kid fits your style a little better. And so, I want all these kids to have a great opportunity and stuff, but you got to really do your research and make sure that they fit your style. Like you said, in person, the other favorite thing is like on film, you're not going to see the huddles. You're not going to see the end of the bench. You're not going to see what they're doing when they're cheering for their teammates and stuff. And that stuff goes a long way with me. The eye contact with the coaches in the huddle, patting somebody on the back, maybe picking them up. You don't see all that stuff on a game film necessarily. Sometimes you can, but usually you don't get to see the other side, One of my big things, and this is just me being like OCD or picky, is like there's rules that kids have to abide by, right? And most of the time, like with these good high school or AU programs, these kids know the rules and stuff. And so like one thing is when a kid checks into the game, is their jersey already untucked? Are they walking to the scorer's table? Are they getting all the way to the X? Like that stuff's major, because if they can abide by those rules, that tells me that they're structured and they're going to do the right thing, Are they when they're off the bench, are they getting that water for their teammates and stuff? Because that stuff just, man, team chemistry goes a huge way in all that stuff. And if you have people griping about, hey, give me water, or if you have people already having the water ready, or they're going to get the water for their teammates, so when they expect water, their teammates are going to get it for them. Things like that. Just those little bitty details that make a kid, somebody in my eyes. If a kid's got an untucked jersey and gets to the side of the scorer's table and then walks in the game and not talking to their teammate who's coming out, like I got whoever, if they're playing man-to-man or that, or if a kid's walking in running in the game, going and grabbing their teammate and saying, who do you got? Or who do we got? And making sure they know everything and those adjustments, they're getting to the X. That's big. That stuff's big to me, because I'm probably going to take the kid that's doing all that stuff, the communication, all that good stuff.
Yeah, that's a great point, man. I think that everyone does it. A lot of people do it at all levels, but I do think it's very important at your level, because at the end of the day, you're dealing with younger kids, right? You don't have the senior leadership in your program for 40 years. You're dealing with a kid that's going to be there for 2 years, and she's going to move on, and you're constantly bringing in new. So
Mm-hmm.
you got to really do character checks, and I mean, call it what it is. At the end of the day, you're going against the biggest and the baddest every single night. So it's going to be, you're going to run into some brick walls every now and then. You're going to make sure that the kid's character relates. And another point I want to talk on, like reputation, so your reputation is going to go a long way whenever college coaches talk to high school coaches. I had a college coach call me the other day asking about what do her teachers think about her, like what do her classmates think about her. And people are always talking, and people are watching more than just basketball. Like you said, if you want to just watch basketball, you can watch just a film, but we go and watch live for all the
Mm-hmm.
3 points.
Absolutely.
Moving along, man, the NJCAA, National Junior College Athletic Association. Why do you feel like a kid should think about that level? Here in Louisiana, we got a lot of D1s. The kids tend to be D1 or bust mindset, where we don't have as many junior colleges. We only have 2 D3s. We have no D2s. So the most thing we have is D1. So most people go to D1. Therefore, that's what they're comfortable with, or that's what they think they should do. Why should kids consider the junior college level?
So my 2 big things. One is the re-recruiting process. If you're somewhere in the recruiting process and you're getting 3 or 4 looks, and maybe, and even if you think you're a D2, and you talk to enough coaches, and those coaches say, yeah, they're D2, but they're not getting those looks right now, or they're D1 and they're not getting those looks right now. It's a big opportunity to get re-recruited. You get 2 years. The second part is academics. When I first went to college, I went to junior college right off the bat, and then I went to Big D1, and they had these things that they call weed out classes. You go sit in there, and there's 100+ students sitting around you, and there's one teacher, and the TA does the lab, and you're like, man. And then you got a basketball schedule on top of that. You got workouts, you got conditioning, you got at the bigger levels, there's a lot of nutrition and health stuff, and your schedule's being planned and things like that. And so it's a huge adjustment. So going to junior college, you're going to be sitting in class with maybe 15, 20 other kids. We're small, so there might be some that are the 2 places I've been have been pretty small. So there might be some that are a little bigger than that. But I feel like community colleges on the side of like whereas universities have 400 faculty and staff, community colleges have 20, 30, 40. Some of the bigger ones may be up close to 100. I don't know that for a fact, but you get that one-on-one, you get that teacher experience. Those teachers are there, and not taking away from universities. They're there to help you and everything, but they got a lot of students, and so you might get a little more interaction. You might get a little more, and plus that re-recruiting process, you're more prepared to go to that level. When you come out of high school, there's 15,000 high schools in the United States, something like that.
Yeah, I know we got 400 something in Louisiana alone. That's a lot.
Right, and so there's some top-notch high school programs, and there's some really good high school programs, and there's some high school programs that just are what they are, and the coaches don't have the time, like not because the coaches don't want the time, but because maybe football is more predominant, or maybe all the universal off-season stuff, or like in Texas, the high school coaches can't coach in the summer. I know some states they can, so just different rules, just different things about those kids. And so coming to a JUCO, you get the full experience of basketball for a full year. You have universal basketball off season. You get the breaks in there, but you get that opportunity to see what a basketball schedule, everyday basketball schedule is, and how much work it takes to be successful on the basketball court. And then with JUCO, and I'm not going to speak for every region or anything, but I know coming in Region 14, you really got to learn how to play, because that what talent does. Like everybody's got the talent, and typically most programs here are going to out talent us just because of situations, but just because we're a younger program and things like that. Those other ones are established, but you got to learn to work, man. You're going against Trinity Valley was number one most of the year this year. Trinity Valley's been top 5 since I've been here. They rarely get out of that top 5. Tyler's top 5 most of the year. You know, we play South Plains. We played South Plains early on every year since I've been here. Odessa's, they're ranked every year, you know. And then you throw in the Kilgores, the Panolas, those type of teams. Hey, everybody's on an equal level of talent.
Yeah.
They can all find 15 players that they can find 10 out of those 15 that are talented. Or all 15 are talented, but they can separate those by the work, you know. And so when you come to JUCO, every night you're going against that. So you got to learn to really work. But the environment of a junior college is a little bit better suited. Maybe if you're just not quite ready to walk in that classroom with 170 kids, or maybe if you're not quite ready for that D1 basketball schedule, you know. I mean, there's a lot of JUCOs out there getting Division I kids. Because they want to be at the Division I and they were good enough, but they just hadn't quite learned that work or hey, this is what it entails being at D1, you know. And everybody at that level, I mean, shoot, everybody at the college level, regardless, you're going NAI, you're going JUCO, NAI, D3, D2, D1, they want to be there and they're going to play basketball. Like there's NAI kids that could be in the Division I. They just chose NAI. You know, there's JUCO kids that could be D1. They just chose junior college for whatever reasons. And so that work, that commitment, that passion, that's what's going to separate you and push you. And I just think in the JUCO, the environment around you, if you're not quite ready for all that big scene, you know, imagine going from high school, like a LeBron James going from high school to the NBA. You know, if you're not quite ready to, that's a little over exaggerated because that's a big leap. But if you're not quite ready for that jump, you know, then JUCO is a great option to acclimate a little bit better.
For sure, man. We talked on the phone earlier the week, man. I wanted you to kind of explain, if you could, the FAFSA, how that works, and I'm not sure everyone in Louisiana is familiar with that, educated on that whole process. You even educated. I didn't know you could have the codes and stuff like that. We had talked with Coach Justin from Millsaps. He said that they just passed a rule where you can actually fill out the FAFSA October of your junior year, like the year before, to get on your taxes before. So I didn't know all that. Can you educate us on all that?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, but so FAFSA was super important. Like with our kids that are going out, we try to get them to fill it out January, February. Like we go into the study hall and have all of them fill it out for the next school, because most colleges want to see that FAFSA because it helps in the recruiting process, because it tells you, you know, are they going to be zero balance kids? Are they going to get money back? Are they going to have to pay a little bit more on the bill? Like Coastal Bend, you know, we don't have a full ride scholarship. So we really need to see that FAFSA. And it goes a long way in telling us. And so when you're recruiting a kid and you want to tell them where they're at on because some of these kids are getting 4 or 5 offers. And so it's not fair if I tell them, hey, yeah, you're going to be a zero balance kid, but I haven't seen their FAFSA situation. And so you want to be very knowledgeable in seeing that amount and stuff. So all colleges put the FAFSA code on the website, and the kids just need to go. I think you can add 10 schools on there, and then once you get to 10, they won't let you add anymore. But you can always go back and change the school. Like if you're narrowed your list down from 20 to 10, you can always go change that to your top 10 at that point. And so all the colleges can see. You know, D3, I saw a little bit of Coach LeBlanc's, and D3, it's really important because they're non-scholarship. You know, they can only give out academic scholarships. And so with us not having a full ride, it's super important. And the sooner you do it, the better it is. And on top of the FAFSA, you can possibly get additional grants depending on the state you're in. I know Texas has a couple extra grants you can get, and so some of our kids got like 2 or 3 grants because they filled out the FAFSA so early, and so they got their bill, a zero balance, or they got a little bit of money back. However it works, I think it's a zero balance, but they got that done because they got their FAFSAs done so early. And I think you can do it all the way through October, but the earlier you do it, the better you're going to be. And then the other part of the FAFSA, the hard part it's not hard. It's very time. And that's the hard part about not being in the office right now, is because we can go to our financial aid office and I can ask the ladies, hey, what do they need? And a lot of times kids will need a dependent verification worksheet and tax transcripts because they don't do the connection between the IRS and stuff. And so I can be on the phone with my kid like, hey, we need to get this in. We need to get this in. And it makes it really nice to have that so they can get it complete and done so they can qualify for a little bit more or they can help the bill. And the other thing is regardless whether you don't think you're going to get any money or you're just going to college or whatever, I had a couple kids say, Coach, I'm not getting anything. And they filled out the FAFSA and they got half grant or whatever. And so you always want to do it. You always want to do it early. You want to do it quickly. It's a little time consuming. It's a little process, One of the good things, I don't know how Louisiana works, but a lot of the high school counselors in the state of Texas will help the kids with during like February. They'll help them. I know that a lot of the kids I'm recruiting in Texas are calling me and saying my high school counselor is going to help me do this tomorrow. They're going to sit down with a group of 30 of us or things like that. So, but it is a must. I can't say this with 100% certainty, but I would bet every college in America every junior college in America wants to see your FAFSA before they jump or anything, because it just kind of gauges where you're at and what your bill is going to look like. And we don't want to be lying to kids. If a kid's getting a full ride offer, the other day I was on the phone with a kid, and first thing I said is, hey, we don't have full rides. I don't want to lie to them and stuff. I said, but you can fill out that FAFSA and we can see where you're at. And they said, Coach, we got 3 full ride offers, and we appreciate you being honest and stuff, but lose the kid because of it. But we have to put the FAFSA with everything, and then we can go from there. So it just helps in making sure we know where the student athlete is, because I don't want to bring somebody in and they're going to owe $1,000 and tell them they're going to be fully covered, things like that.
No doubt, man. I appreciate you being honest with that. Like, I think that's more common than a lot of people would believe. Even at junior college, NAIA. So NAIA, I don't know if you know, but they combine D1, D2, so they're down to 8 scholarships. They're carrying more than 8 people. So you guys, some NAIAs aren't fully funded. D3 is all student academic scholarships. So whenever you kind of break this all down, where Division I is just a small piece of the pie, the rest of those divisions that we're talking about is a huge piece of that. FAFSA is very, very important. Academics is very, very important. Those 2 things combined, plus your little bit of athletics money, can go a long ways. Like you said, and a lot of people have said, at the end of the day, man, we're just trying to get you to zero balance. If we can put some money in your pocket, great. But at the end of the day, the goal for everyone is just get down to zero balance. The easiest way to explain it is it's like a salary cap, I guess. At the end of the day, you only had this much money, you kind of got divided amongst your team, and the more information that you know is going to allow you. That's probably almost as valuable as film at this point. Like, you need film and you need to know how much you're going to cost somebody to bring in, just so both parties are happy. Like, they want to be to zero, and you want to make sure that they're taken care of as well.
Right. It's just like walking. It's just like the loan stuff. I don't want a kid walking out of college with student loans. Like, I got student loans, so I don't want that for any of those kids. So that's why it's so important to me, because I want them to be on the right way to be debt free when they leave college. And you talked about a couple questions back to the re-recruiting process. A lot of times junior college is a little cheaper, and so the Pell Grant goes pretty far with that. And I don't know exactly how it works. Like, I don't know if every school, I don't know if they base that off of the cost of tuition and all that stuff, but I know that the Pell Grant goes pretty far for us, as far as if you're full Pell, you're going to get about a half or about 3/4 of your bill covered with just the Pell Grant. And so it's something that every kid needs. It's something that, like I said, the kids that even don't think they're going to get one or get some need to do, because if you can walk out of college debt free, you've been pretty successul in life.
Yeah. So
You've been
interject with that, right? So talked with a D3 school yesterday on the phone, and he was like, I got to get these kids to fill out their FAFSA because you talk about other grants, we have grants at the school. So like you talked about a Texas grant, it may not be the same as the federal, it may be something that's federal, it may be something that's state, it may be something that's at the school. There's so many different levels to this. And like you said, it doesn't really matter. Like you're not gonna get penalized for it. So you might as well do it and see if there's some free money out there.
absolutely. And the other thing too is a lot of times I know at Coastal Min, our financial aid office has a link at the bottom with like 3 big scholarship websites. And sometimes you can go through there and apply, and sometimes it's for it. But it's not like specifically for athletics, but it's for athletes. Like if you're going to college to play athletics, and those are time consuming and stuff. But I've heard 5 or 6 stories of kids that paid their whole way through college going and filling out some of those and not even using grants. So I mean, there are lots of resources to help you get through college, and one of the big, I don't know if it's when I was getting recruited to play college basketball, it was a big misconception with me. So this might just be my opinion, but I thought almost every school just gave you a full ride, and I didn't realize colleges cost that much, and I didn't realize, I didn't realize all this stuff. And so I want the kids to understand that all colleges do have full rides, like you were saying, Division III. But there's resources that can get you covered if you're willing to do that. And that goes back to your first question too, recruiting process. If I'm talking to a kid and I ask them to get their FAFSA in, so I can check it and let them know what their bill's going to be, and they don't do it in the first 4 or 5. If it's 4 or 5 days later and they're just doing it and they haven't been communicating with me, I'm a little more sold on another kid that's getting it done, because that tells me they kind of want to be there. They kind of want to get it done. They're going to get their application. The first 2 things we say: application and FAFSA. Application, FAFSA. Application, FAFSA. And if they can get that done quick, then that tells me they kind of want to be here. They're willing to figure out ways to do it, so that because I mean, just kind of what I was talking to you about, I'm telling the kids the same thing on the phone. I'm telling them, hey, you get your FAFSA done so I can tell you where your bill's going to be at, how much you're going to owe, if you're going to be a zero balance, if you can get a little money back, so on and so forth. And so it's just, I've never met a JUCO coach, and I haven't asked every JUCO coach I've met, but like when I was at Frank Phillips, FAFSA was super important. On the men's side, my 1 year on the men's side, Coach Hackett was just like, before we do anything, we need to get the FAFSAs in. And so that's kind of where most coaches that I talk to are like, yeah, that's the first thing. And then you can once they get that stuff turned in, the rest of the application process and the admissions process is pretty simple after that.
No doubt. It's like a domino effect. Like if you don't knock down the first domino, we can't knock down the rest of them. And like you said, I thought you brought up a great point. You're looking at hundreds of kids. Hundreds of kids are coming after you, and you're trying to find 10 of them, right? So if Sally doesn't do the X, Y, and Z, then you're moving on to Samantha. Like you're moving on down the road, and I think these kids really got to understand that, especially at this point in the game, where here we are, April 16th, National Signing Day for D1, D2 was yesterday. So now we're starting to see the writing on the wall. Like if you don't have your stuff together ahead of time, I would even say way before January, like you said, you don't even know what's going on whenever these questions start to come. Now you're backed up to April, and then you're backed up to the end of April, maybe May. And by that time, you guys are moved on. You're trying to find 10 kids. You're trying to fill a roster. So.
Right.
Nate, man, again, I appreciate you coming on, man. It was great. It was all great information for sure. Educating these kids and FAFSA, I've learned a lot talking with you. I've learned a lot talking with other coaches throughout this. It was great to kind of get you on and get a nice, good recap on everything, and hopefully put into perspective of how important that is. And how that can hold up a lot of stuff. It can cost you a spot. It can find you a spot at the end of the day. Man. You want to leave us with anything, man? Your social media handle, anywhere that the girls can kind of find you?
Oh man, I don't even know my social media handle. I know I think we're CBC Women's Basketball on Twitter, at CBC Women's Basketball, or it might be Women's B-Ball. I should have got that stuff out.
Sorry, I'll pop it up for us on the.
Yeah,
video.
I can't. I think my Twitter account's at Coach Nate 50. I believe so, but I'll I can send it to you, and then if you can pop it up for me. The one thing, the last thing I'm gonna say is, this is from when I played at JUCO. It's my favorite quote of all time, and I don't know if this holds true for every coach, but you know, he said it's not about the X's and the O's, it's about the Johnnies and the Joes, and I think he got that from somebody else. I think Coach Klein got that from somebody else, but that's why it's so important to have players, because we're not who we are. And that's why we take time to recruit. That's why we take time to make sure you're getting the FAFSA done. That's why we take time to get to know your family and who you are, because our program is not going to be successful without the kids. And thus, in college basketball is not going to be successful without the kids, the competitives, the kids that are just out there. And so that's the one thing that I want every kid to know is you make our programs who they are, I feel like. And so that's why we take so much time recruiting. That's why we take so much time getting to know you and working with you and trying to build something. So because you make me as a coach, the players that I'm recruiting that will play for me, that have played for me, they make me better every day.
Awesome, man. That's great. That's great information, man. I appreciate you leaving that with us. Again, Coach Nate, appreciate it, man. If you need anything from our way, don't hesitate. Feel free to reach out. Everyone watching, thanks, guys. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll be coming back with some more college coaches like Coach Nate here.
Appreciate it, Coach Goff. Thanks for everything you do, man.
Thanks, man.
Later.